and welcome back to another episode of Sorry I'm Spiraling. Location change. We are in the Blue Ridge Mountains in LJ, Georgia at an Airbnb because it is Austin and I's 1-year engagement anniversary, which actually I took my ring off to wash my hands and I need to put it back on, so 1 second. And the lighting's a little crazy right now because the sun is literally right here. It's setting right now, but I really like this area. So we're just gonna sit here for a little bit and maybe go blind, but it's fine. This episode might be a little bit shorter. I forgot all of my podcast episode list ideas at home. I only brought one of them and it's kind of just like a little fun video that I have planned, which is basically I want to do a drunk episode because I've never been drunk on camera to the point where I'm like trying to film a video. Like I've just been drunk at the club filming, you know? So I just wanted to make sure I have at least one good podcast episode to come out of tonight, since that's gonna be happening fairly soon. And I forgot all my freaking ideas at home. So I'm just kind of going off the cuff for this episode, and it's something that I have wrote about a lot in my notes app on my phone. I don't know if I've really talked about it a lot on the internet. Well, I guess the overarching theme for today is the idea of perception, which I think is so relevant no matter your age, no matter how you identify, if you're a part of a subculture, if you're not. This is not just for goth women or goths at all. Like, this is for anyone and everyone. I'm just gonna talk about it in the lens of goth because that is my experience and I can only speak from my experience. I found in my notes, I was getting ready for the 2010s night that I went to with my friend Brooke. And I remember getting ready for that night. I was going back and forth between wearing my contacts, not wearing my contacts, painting my neck, not painting my neck, because 2010s Y2K type of fashion, the thing that was popular at the time was not goth, but I was going for a Kesha look. And I was sitting there and I was going back and forth, going back and forth, going back and forth in my head of like thinking about what people would think of me when I was in that environment. Like thinking that people are gonna think that's not accurate. Why did she paint her neck? Why is her neck black? Why is she wearing white contacts? Like, this is so weird. Like, why is she here? Why did she choose to exist like that? I ended up just doing it anyways. I painted my neck, I wore my contacts because that's what makes me comfortable. That's what makes me feel like myself and the most confident. And I went and there wasn't a single problem. No one said anything to me. No one made me feel uncomfortable. And I actually did get quite a few compliments that night. So it's not like anybody cared. But it was in that moment of just like going back and forth and going back and forth. Like, I just wasted so much time on that. And so much energy was expended from myself before I even stepped out of the house, because I was sitting there thinking about strangers thinking about me. Which just kind of ties back into the last episode of not being a mind reader, not giving yourself the satisfaction of giving people thoughts because you're bringing up your own insecurities. I guess I'll just read you like the note that I wrote, which was when it happened. So this was July of last year. And I wrote, I've recently felt this weird pressure to fit into a certain box. I was thinking about how I want to do my makeup for this 2010s night, and I was really struggling with the idea about wearing my contacts and usual neck paint. I started to unpack why I was arguing with myself. It was this underlying insecurity of other people's perception of me. And then I dug even deeper and came to the conclusion that this is probably because of the internet's constant pressure to fit into a certain aesthetic wholly. And the truth is, I like so many things. Why not mash them all together? Especially if it makes me feel more comfortable and confident. And if this doesn't make any sense to someone, then who cares, because it's not for them. So yeah, I guess all I'm trying to say is that the internet isn't real. Look how you want, listen to the music that you want, and don't let the idea of the perception of you consume you. I guess that kind of just like wraps it up, but I do like really want to expand on the whole internet thing, because that's something that I feel like has come to fruition in the past couple of years. When I was a kid, I never felt pressure to fit into a certain box. I felt pressure to be a part of the popular scene and like the things that were popular at the time, whether that be Taylor Swift or whatever was really popping at the time and in my region. You know, I felt pressure to be like that, but I never felt like I couldn't like other things. I never felt like liking other things made me less than, or like I can't participate in something because I like something that's unrelated. And I think that that's a problem like that you see here and now in the goth community, especially online. You see all of these goth police coming out of the woodworks being like, well, you can't do this and be goth, you can't look like this and be goth, you can't, you know, and all of that. And it's not just the goth subculture, it's punk, it's the metal scene, black metal scene, McBling scene. You see it with all these subcultures, and you feel this immense amount of pressure because you're scrolling through stuff online. You're seeing people's channels, TikToks, Instagrams that are 100% curated to fit an aesthetic. And just to think of a few, like the 80s community is really like that. There are people on the internet who sleep, drink, breathe, eat everything 100% 80s accurate. And it's not a problem. They're just so 100% consumed in that aesthetic that it feels like you will never be enough till you get to that point. And it's unrealistic for a lot of people. You know, the McBling girls, like, and I love these people. Like, I love people that really indulge themselves into an aesthetic or a era, and they just live like that. It's one of my favorite things, and it takes so much time and effort to curate a lifestyle like that and a wardrobe like that, and so much knowledge to be able to contribute your entire lifestyle to that and be 100% accurate in doing it. But I don't think people are realizing the effects that it has on the youth and just other people in general from consuming content like that, especially when we're living in a time when overconsumption and exploitation are the two biggest things that we have going for us. We are being fed consume, exploit 100% of the time. Every second of every day you are on your phone, you're being fed an ad. You are being fed, buy this, look at this, you need this, you need this, you need this. And then you have a camera looking back at you that's saying, well, if you just film yourself, maybe you'll be able to get that and do this and go here. Just exploit your life, exploit the people around you, exploit your children, exploit your feelings. But then you gotta think, I'm doing that right now. I don't know. I'm just thinking about all of the effects of things that we don't fully understand, like what's gonna happen, and I feel like we're starting to feel those effects. So when we see those people that have 100% curated lives, there's people like me, and I know there's other people out there like me who sit there and are like, I'll never be able to reach that. And I do that with, like, it's Black Friday. Her whole entire house, her wardrobe, her lifestyle, her children are curated. 100% goth, gothic, whatever. They have all black, ornate furniture. Granted, it is thrifted, most of it, because I do watch her videos, or gifted, but I just can't see myself having that. I do have a beautiful home. I surround myself with things that fit my aesthetic, But then I compare myself to these creators online who were very successful, and then I see, like, I guess I can approach it as a business standpoint of me doing research on why or how I can succeed at this right here on YouTube, and what is making me different from other creators in my niche. And when I do that, I realize I do not have a curated life. I am not that niche. I'm just not. I like to look goth. I like looking weird. I like goth music. I am a part of the goth subculture. I like gothic history and medieval shit and Victorian stuff and all of that, politics. But then I have like so many other interests that I feel like I can't fit into that box that the algorithm really likes and pushes, because I'm Appalachian and I take a lot of pride in that. So I have a lot of things in my house and aesthetics that I would prefer to be more homestead Appalachian looking, and that's just not. It is goth. We can argue about how goth Appalachians are all day. I could make that a whole video. Appalachians are so goth and people just don't get it. And then I love so much 2000s and 2010s stuff, and it just doesn't fit into that box. I think that that's one of the things that I felt so much pressure when creating videos and creating content specifically on TikTok. Like, I'm almost 100% given up on TikTok because I can never please that algorithm. I literally just go on there, lip sync to some audio, and then I'm gone for 3 months. But I just feel like I can't fit into anything. Like, I like so many things, and I think that that's just a side effect of the internet that I don't see a lot of people talking about, especially goth creators. Like, I don't think I've ever seen someone sit down and talk about it besides being on TikTok with text on screen being like, you can listen to other music and still be goth. You don't have to wear white base and be goth. You don't have to wear black lipstick to be a goth. You don't have to have piercings and tattoos to be a goth. Like, the same shit that we know and we've heard a billion times over and over and over again. We get it. We know. If you are a goth, you have done research on goth, and you know that. I feel like I had a point and then I kind of lost it. That's where I'm at right now. But I guess getting back to like the curated lifestyle, and maybe it's something that I just don't understand, so I'm like taking it personal and seeing it as like a threat, because I have my hand in every bucket, you know, and I like so many different things. I don't like being put in a box. I think that's what it is. I do not like having a label, being put in a box, and being marketed one way.
Jump scare of editing Sadie. I think I was starting to tap into a point that I wanted to touch on, but never actually finished my thought right here, which is I don't like being fit in a box, and I think that's what has turned me off so much from the online goth community. It's because they're pushing this agenda of conformity when the entire point of the subculture is nonconformity, but they want you to check every box, be a certain way, look this way, act this way, post these things, and if you don't have this, that, and the third, you're not goth. And as someone who curates their local goth scene and puts on events and hosts events and is active in other regions' goth events and goth scenes, it just baffles me that the internet has clung on to such a dystopian and dramatized idea of goth, which is why I've pushed back so much from posting on TikTok as a goth creator, even though it is my most prolific. Like, I have the most followers on TikTok, so I should be posting there, but I don't because I hate TikTok. I hate it there. It's terrifying. I don't know. I've been in the scene since I was 15 years old. I started going to goth nights and goth clubs at 18 because back in the day, it was 18 and up. I'm sorry for all you 21 and up people. Just sit this one out, I guess. See if you're still goth at 21 and then go. Clock it. It's something that I could rant about, and I have made so many videos about this specific thing, and every single time I get too scared to post, I get too scared to step out and say something because of what I'm talking about in this video. I don't check every box, and I don't fucking want to check every goddamn box. I just want to be me. I just want to exist. I am goth. I listen to goth music. I have a goth lifestyle. I like goth literature. I am secure in my gothness, and I don't understand why the internet has made it a thing to where you have to justify your goth. Like, you have to have a goth card now? I don't know. It's a whole rant that I could go on, and I just wanted to expand on that a little bit because I don't think I went in as in-depth as I would have liked to. This is the first podcast episode that I have filmed where someone can hear me. So I was feeling a little bit insecure. I don't know why I'm like that. It's like, Austin does not care. Continue the video.
But I guess it's just to each their own. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not a hater of it. Of course, like, I'm so jealous of people that can just curate a lifestyle and have one thing and really stick to it. But I am so just not that person. Like, I think about my future home and like how I want it to look, and I don't think I could pick an aesthetic if somebody had a gun to my head. I think I'm losing the plot. My brain's already like on 3 million different things. Okay, so I guess I really like the last sentence, which is like, the internet's not real, and don't let what you see online affect you mentally, which is like some advice that I need to take for myself. But like, I don't ever want to be that for you guys. I don't want you to look and be like, oh my gosh, she has an entirely curated life, which I don't think you guys do, because I am so all over the place with and open about the things that I like and different interests that I have other than goth. I just prefer aesthetically to look a certain way, which is heavily associated with the goth subculture. So I just really have the need to tell you that if you are a goth and you do not fit every single box that the internet has built recently for you, if you are McBling and you like 9 Inch Nails, hell to the yeah. If you are an 80s aesthetic person and you say, you know what, I get down with that 1920s era makeup, I love a flapper dress, who cares? I feel like it's more beneficial to people to be transparent about those things rather than creating a fantasy and an illusion online of a 100% curated life. Even though there are people out there, there are outliers that literally do live like that. But I think if people put that veil down and took that veil down, a lot more people would feel not so much pressure to check all those boxes. Because what they're not showing you is the years that it's taken to get to that point. How much time was spent into thrifting and Facebook marketplacing and researching to begin with. Because at the base of those people and their aesthetics is research. You can't just, you're not coming out of the womb knowing this stuff. You're asking people, you're being told it, and then you're researching it. You're going to a thrift store and you're searching for it. You're making sure it's period accurate, and you're looking for sources that help you style those pieces. It's a lot of time, and it's a lot of effort, and it's a lot of money. Something that people don't really have these days. Moving on from that topic, I guess I can talk about times where I've really felt pressure to conform or to look a certain way, act a certain way. All of those things I can talk about, like specifics, because it's changed through my life. When I was getting my college education, I was in an education minor. Just because at one point I wanted to be a teacher and I was pursuing that. I was student teaching and doing all the things to become an educator. And it's something that I was really passionate about, and I am still very passionate about. I think that education is one of the most overlooked privileges that people have. Like, people overlook the privilege that education is, and I could go on a whole rant about it. I'm not going to right now. There was so much pressure to look a certain way to be an educator, which whenever I wanted to be an educator, I was looking for higher education, minimum high school. I wanted to be a professor preferably, but I was looking to start out in high school, you know. So I felt a lot of pressure to still conform to be that ideal teacher look, you know. They're not wanting teachers with piercings and tattoos and micro bangs. They're wanting a curated look that fits this misogynistic idea of what a teacher should be. And oh my god, it goes into so many things. It goes into misogyny, it goes into classism, it just goes into so many stereotypes of people with tattoos, people with piercings, people with microbangs, people with funky hair, people that don't conform to societal standards of fashion at that very moment, and people that aren't willing to bend for that. And I'm just one of those people. Like, I don't want to have to bend. Just be able to do the job that I spent so much time learning. At the end of the day, if all of these silver things in my face were actually in my face and pierced into my skin, but I had a master's degree in education, why should it matter? Why should it matter that I choose to have something in or on my skin if I have a better education than a different candidate who doesn't? It makes no sense to me. It boggles my mind that in this day and age it is something that is still encouraged, I guess, is still expected of people. I think that tattoos and piercings being unprofessional is just so unrealistic and backwards, because if they knew how much money it cost to have the artwork that some people have on their bodies and how expensive piercing jewelry, like actually good quality piercing jewelry is, they would be like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have judged you because you've gotten all of this very expensive stuff on your body and you've invested time into it. I guess that's a moment in life where I just felt an immense amount of pressure to just conform. And whenever I didn't, I definitely felt the repercussions of that. And I also just feel like I felt a lot of repercussions in my time of learning about education because of how open I was about a lot of things that people don't want to talk about when it comes to being in a school in America in 2026. Fears that one might have because of certain laws or lack thereof. If you catch my drift, it was something that I was very open about being my number one fear, and ultimately why I walked away from education being my profession as a whole, because I just can't do that. I'm not built for that. I'm not built for that, and I can't. Nope. I also felt that pressure in high school, just because, you know, I was living with my grandparents and my grandma hated anything alternative, literally anything alternative. Colored hair, a piercing, a tattoo, black jeans and a black t-shirt. She hated it. That's all I could get away with was black jeans and a black t-shirt, and Lord, did she give me hell over it every single day. And I think that's what contributes to my deep hatred for conformity and feeling like someone is putting pressure on me to be a certain way or look a certain way. It is my, like, you want to rage bait me? Tell me how to look. That is rooted in so many things for me. It's the way I grew up. It's being on social media since I was so long and seeing lives and not understanding how long and how much time it took to curate those lives and lifestyles, and then being online now, and then being a creator now, and subjecting myself to the internet, and then subjecting myself to the idea of being perceived on the internet, being in college, getting out of college, being in a professional workforce. I think that's all I have to say about this. I wish I would have remembered to bring my notes on episodes, but I genuinely, I'm blanking. I don't have anything else to say about this. I feel like I've explained it good enough to where you guys understand where I'm coming from. And if you've ever struggled with perception, or if you have different reasons for struggling with perception, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I feel like this could be like a conversation that people add on to, because I am literally just talking about my experience. I think I'm just gonna leave this here. This is probably a shorter episode, which I think I'm liking the idea of more shorter episodes here and there. I don't know if you're gonna see this before or after the drunk episode, but it might just have to be after the drunk episode if I trash this one. This has not been going well. Leave a comment. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you have any suggestions for future podcast episode ideas or topics you want to hear me talk about and ramble about, always feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.